If you follow sports cars, you know that feeling when a great one takes its final bow. It's happening again. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the 2026 Toyota GR Supra MKV Final Edition, the A90 generation. It's been with us since 2019, and yeah, the clock is definitely running out now.
It really is a significant moment. And look, our goal today isn't just to list off features from a brochure. We really want to understand this move by Toyota Gazoo Racing. Production is set to end in spring 2026. That's confirmed. So why now? And, maybe more importantly, do these upgrades, the performance tweaks, the looks, do they make this final edition the definitive MKV Supra? The one worth collecting.
Okay, let's dig into that and maybe start with the rarity factor, because that immediately says something, doesn't it? This isn't just, another package, it's a hard stop, and the numbers are tiny. Sources are saying things like, what, only 25 cars for all of Canada?
Exactly. That kind of scarcity instantly shifts the conversation from just a performance car to potentially a collector's item down the line.
Right. But before we get carried away with the limited numbers, we should probably set the stage. I mean, the standard 2026 GR Supra is already a pretty serious machine, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The baseline is strong. You've got the 3.0-liter twin-scroll turbo inline six. Let's get the numbers out. 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. And that inline six layout, it's key for that almost perfect weight distribution everyone talks about.
And the transmission choices were always a big plus for the A90, right? You've got the snappy 8-speed automatic, but then there's the one enthusiasts really gravitated towards, that 6-speed intelligent manual.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that manual wasn't just some afterthought. They really engineered it for this car. It has a larger clutch, a reinforced spring. Basically, it's built to handle the engine's torque properly. It feels really connected.
It makes sense. Even the regular model already came loaded with performance tech. You mentioned the active diff earlier, but there was also that clever software stuff.
For sure. Things like launch control for getting off the line quickly, the active rear sport differential, which is properly mechanical, shifting power side to side at the back. But my personal favorite, probably the hairpin plus function.
Explain that one again. Hairpin plus back.
Yeah, it's this really neat bit of software tuning. Basically, on super tight, slow corners, like a hairpin turn, it slightly adjusts the differential locking to help the car rotate better. Fighting understeer makes you feel like a driving god on twisty roads. And knowing this baseline is crucial because it shows the final edition wasn't about adding new tech, but really honing what was already there.
Okay, so that brings us right to the big question. It's been around since 2019, a 6-year run. In today's car world, well, it's a decent lifespan, so why end it now? Why signal this hard stop with a final edition?
Well, I think there are a few layers to it. First, you've got the platform itself. Remember, this Supra shares its bones with the BMW Z4. These co-development deals usually have timelines. 6 years is often kind of a natural cycle endpoint for shared architecture.
Right, contracts and engineering cycles.
Exactly. And the sources kind of suggest that Gazoo Racing feels they've pushed this specific platform with this combustion engine about as far as it can reasonably go. By putting all these final tweaks in, they're essentially saying this is the ultimate expression of the A90 combustion car. They're closing the chapter on this engine and chassis combo.
So it's less about sales targets and more an engineering statement, like, we can't make this specific car significantly better without a fundamental redesign.
I think that's a big part of it. Chasing, say, another 50 horsepower would likely mean serious engine work, maybe even chassis reinforcements that change the car's character or push the price way up. So instead, they focused everything on refining the handling, perfecting the package they already had, making the best MKV, not just the fastest possible iteration on paper.
Okay, that makes sense. And it leads us perfectly into the tech details, because this is where things get interesting. For a final edition, keeping the power at 382 horsepower. Some people might raise an eyebrow, right? Collectors often want that extra grunt.
That's a totally fair point from an enthusiast perspective. But reading between the lines, it seems like raw power just wasn't the goal here. Maybe chasing dyno numbers would have muddied the message. What's really telling is that all the major changes for the final edition are, under the skin. It's about making it a sharper tool, a more precise instrument.
A better tool, not just a faster one. I like that. Okay, let's open up that toolkit. Chassis and suspension are the main event. What did they actually change that you or I would feel driving it?
Okay, so a lot of it is about rigidity and precision. They made subtle tweaks to the camber angles, front and rear. Now that might sound minor, but it directly affects how the tire contacts the road when you're cornering hard. It should make the front end bite more eagerly and feel more stable.
Sharper turn-in, more confidence mid-corner. Okay. What about the actual hardware? The bits and pieces?
They've upgraded the dampers, the shock absorbers, and retuned the adaptive variable suspension, the AVS system. That system adjusts damping on the fly. The new tune should make it react faster, settle the car quicker after hitting bumps or making sharp inputs. And then there's stiffness. They put in stiffer bushings for the control arms and a stiffer rear suspension mount.
Stiffer bushings. Translate that for us. Why does that matter?
It basically reduces tiny amounts of flex or squishiness in the suspension components. So when you turn the steering wheel, the reaction from the wheels is more immediate, more direct, less filter, more feedback. It makes the car feel more responsive, maybe even a bit more aggressive. And to really tie it all together, they added extra underbody bracing using aluminum brackets to further stiffen the whole chassis structure.
Okay, so it's tighter, it talks to you more through the steering, and it stays flatter in corners. That sounds like pure handling refinement. I also saw something about software tweaks for the steering feel itself.
That's right. They revised the electric power steering software. The goal is usually to make it feel a bit more natural, less artificially boosted, giving you a better sense of what the front tires are doing. And they also tweaked the rear differential software to make sure it works perfectly with all those new, stiffer physical parts.
Right, makes sense. Now, if you make a car handle that much better, you absolutely need the brakes to match. And it sounds like they went pretty big there.
Oh yeah, this is a major functional upgrade. New front brake calipers, Brembos, and significantly larger front rotors, the discs themselves. They went from 13.7 inches on the standard 3.0 up to 14.7 inches for the final edition.
Wow, a full inch bigger. That's quite a jump.
It really is. And it's not just about stopping faster once. That extra size, that extra surface area and mass means much better heat dissipation. So, less brake fade during repeated hard stops like you'd get on a track day. It's a serious upgrade for performance driving.
Okay, so they've dialed in the driving dynamics. Makes sense they'd want the visuals to match that final statement vibe. Let's shift to the aesthetics. What makes this thing look unique?
Yeah, the look definitely screams special edition. A lot of the key visual elements are tied into what they're calling the GT4 style pack. It gives it that motorsport connection. You get those really nice 19-inch forged aluminum wheels finished in matte black. And that carbon fiber rear duckbill spoiler is a big part of it too.
Carbon fiber, always a good sign. Lightweight, looks purposeful.
Exactly. And then the paint colors are the real giveaway. They're exclusive matte finishes. One
Okay.
called Undercover, which sounds like a dark gray or black, and Burnout, maybe a silver or white. That matte finish itself is a premium touch.
Definitely stands out. Any other exterior touches?
Yeah, you get red painted carbon fiber mirror caps if you go for that GT4 pack. Plus some GT4 inspired graphics, subtle ones, and the rear super emblem is done in matte black too. It's aggressive, but still pretty tasteful, I think. Collector friendly.
Okay, moving inside. Driver-focused cockpit, but with those little touches that mark it as special. Red accents seem to be the theme.
Very much so. You get leather seats, but with Alcantara inserts for better grip. The GR logo is embossed on the headrests. And yeah, red is everywhere. Red seat belts are a standout feature. Red and white contrast stitching on the seats, the steering wheel, the dash. And for the manual cars, the leather shift knob gets this cool red ring around the top.
Nice details, but for someone buying this as a collector's item, the ultimate proof is usually...
The numbered plaque? Absolutely. There's a special edition badge inside, but the real deal is that small, individually numbered plaque. Sources say it's kind of tucked away on the end of the dashboard, knowing you have, say, number 12 out of 25 for your country.